Okay, so tell me what is reasoning?
लॉजिकली विचारू बने reasoning चाहिए.
Okay, logically think and then take decision, right? So system has no intelligence like human. So we give the knowledge and fact. So based on that, they take the decision, right? So we require reasoning for system can take decision based on their knowledge, right? So reasoning is ability to explore the given knowledge and then they take the decision, right? So there are the two approaches are used as we have discussed, forward reasoning or forward chaining, and backward reasoning and backward chaining, right? So in forward reasoning start with the initial knowledge that given by human, and then we have to solve one by one, and we have to reach our goal state, right? So this is your forward reasoning. Already we
Very,
have
very
this.
many, many no આવે. Very, very લખાય. ખાલી many, many લખાય.
Mute your mic. If you have question, then unmute. Otherwise, you can mute your mic. Okay. So first, forward chaining means we start with the initial fact, and then we solve the problem using different operation, and then we reach our goal state. Right. Already we have discussed in previous lecture. Now we also discussed one example for weather forecasting system. So starting with the initial given rule, we have to reach our goal state. So here I given the rule for if we suspect temperature is less than 20 and there is a humidity in air, then there are chances of rain. Then rule number 2, if sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool, then we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Then rule number 3, if air is very heavy, then there is a humidity in the air. So this is the knowledge that given to our system. Then they start the solve problem. Okay, and some two facts are also given. That is, sun is behind the cloud and air is very heavy and cool. Okay, now our problem is using forward chaining. Try to conclude that there are chances of rain. Okay, we have to conclude this. Now starting with our initial fact, that is already here I have explained. So first rule, all the rules are written in first column. Then here is the status of your rules and the working memory. Means the two facts are already in working memory because system has no intelligence or knowledge. So we have to give the basic knowledge regarding your problem. So in working memory, the two rules is there. That is, sun is behind the cloud, and the second is air is very heavy and cool. Now starting with the first rule, that is we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Now the second rule is there is humidity in air. Now the second rule of first is sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool, right? So these all the are rule I have to return in first column, and that is our first pass, right? Now I have to check if this rule is available in working directory or working memory. If it is yes, then I have to fire that rule. Now start with the first. It is available? No. Then the status is unknown. Now check whether the second rule is available. No, it is not available. So I write unknown. The third rule is sun is behind the cloud. It is available? Yes. But in second rule, two rules are there. Sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool. Then we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree, right? So also we have to check for the second rule. Air is very cool is available, right? So yes. So now the second rule is fire, and then we have to add in the working memory. Okay. Then we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay. Now the working memory contain three rules. Okay. Now the second pass, this is your first pass, right? Now we go to the next pass, that is starting with the first rule, right? So we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Now the second is there is a humidity in air. Now I not write the rule number 2 because already I have installed in the working memory. Already I have fired this rule 2 in working memory, so that's why I not repeat rule number 2. Now I add rule number 3. If air is very heavy, so you have to write this all the rules in first column. Now check. This rule is available in working memory. Yes, so I have to true. Now check for the second rule. In first rule, that is there is a humidity in air. So is it available? No. So I have to write unknown. Now check for the third rule, that is air is very heavy. Is it available? Yes. So directly it fire because no other end operation rule in rule number 3. Only one rule is there. Okay, so directly we add there is a humidity in the air in working memory. Now I contain in working memory 4 rules. Okay. Now we start with the third phase, that is that contain 4 rules in working memory. Now only one rule is remaining for fire. So I have to write only one rule, that is we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. And the second rule is there is a humidity in the air. Now I have to check in the working memory. Is it available? Yes. Then I have to write true. If also I have to check there is a humidity in the air. Is it available? Yes. So fire rule. And now I reach our goal state, that is there are chances of rain. Because our problem is we have to find there are chances of rain. So now we reach our goal state. Now you have to stop your exploration. Okay, so we have deducted there are chances of rain. Clear? Forward reasoning or forward chaining? Anyone have doubt? Now we come to the next topic, that is backward reasoning and backward chaining. So what is backward chaining or backward reasoning? Is an inference method described collectively as working backward from the goal. It is used in the automated theorem proofs, inference engine, proof assistance and other artificial applications, right? In game theory, researchers apply it to subgame to find the solution to the game in a process called backward induction. In chess, it is called retrograde analysis, and it is used to generate table basis for chess and games for computer chess. So in backward reasoning, we start with the goal state and we have to explore all the rules and reach to our initial state. Okay, sometimes that used for the game or theorem proving. In theorem proving, we starting with our goal and then one by one we apply the rules and we come to the first rule, right? So this is the backward chaining. Now we also explore backward chaining is a goal driven and forward chaining is data driven, because that start with the given data, and the backward chaining is a goal driven method of deriving a particular goal from a given knowledge base and a set of inference rules. Now inference rules are applied by matching the goal of the search to consequence of the relation stored in the knowledge base. Means already we have given the 2 inference rule in our forward chaining, like first one is sun is behind the cloud and air is very heavy and cool. This inference rule also we used in the backward chaining for conclude our statement. Okay. Now also we see one by one how backward chaining work. So with this strategy, an expert system find out of the answer to the question. So why this happened? So already you have a goal, so you have to reach to your fate. So on the basis of what has already happened, the inference engine try to find out which condition could have happened in past for this result. This strategy is followed for finding out cause or reason. For example, diagnosis of blood cancer in human. So we have to ask why this happened, and then we have to find the reasons for this problem. So this is your backward chaining. Okay. Now also we take one example so you have more clear. Anyone have any questions? Then you can also write your questions in chat box. Okay. Now definition: in backward chaining we start from the conclusion, which is the hypothesis we wish to prove, and we aim to show how that conclusion can be reached from the rules and the fact in the database. Okay, the conclusion we are aiming to prove is called a goal, and so reasoning in this way is known as the goal driven reasoning. Means we are starting with our goal state and we have to reach to our facts or a knowledge base. So this is the goal driven reasoning, because we are starting with a goal, and in forward chaining we are starting with the data, so that is called data driven reasoning. Okay. Now backward chaining start with the goal state, which is the set of conditions the agent wishes to achieve in carrying out his plan. It now examines these states and sees what action could lead to it. Okay. Now we check one example so you have more clear. So already we have covered weather forecast system in forward reasoning. So same example we explore in backward reasoning so you have more clear. Now first of all I have some rules. Okay, I have given some rules, that is if we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree and there is a humidity in air, then there are chances of rain. The rule number 2, if sun is behind a cloud and air is very cool, then we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Now rule 3 is if air is very heavy, then there is a humidity in the air. These are the rules, and some inference rule are sun is behind the cloud and air is very heavy and cool. Okay. Now what is the problem? Using backward chaining, try to conclude that there are chances of rain. Okay, we have to conclude. So there are chances of rain. Okay. So using backward chaining. Okay. Now we start with the first step. So here all are the rules that already I have explained, and the solution table is this. Starting with the first column is step, then description and working memory. So what is contained the working memory? That is the rule or the inference rule that already given, and some proof that already added in working memory. Okay. Now we start with the goal, that is there are chances of rain. So already our problem is try to conclude that there are chances of rain. Okay, so what we have in first step, so only we have a goal, that is there are chances of rain. So not in working memory, because when we add in working memory, when the rule is matched, then we fire and then we add in working memory. So in working memory, first step it is empty, because there is no rules is fire, right? So here the first step is goal, there are chances of rain, not in working memory. Okay. Now the second, find the rule with our goal, there are chances of rain. In conclusion, it is the rule number 1. Now we have to ask the question, there are chances of rain. Is it available this rule in any rule? So rule number 1, in rule number 1 you can see that the statement is available, there are chances of rain. Okay. Now we see what are the requirement of rule number 1. Then condition is when it is executed, first of all that satisfy 2 conditions. That is, we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree and there is a humidity in the air. Okay. So now see if rule 1 premise 1 is known, we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Because already we have seen that in first rule it is there is chances of rain. But what is its premises? That is 2 rule, that is we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. So this is the step number 3. Now also one rule is required, that is there is a humidity in the air. Okay. So this is the conclusion of rule 2. So going to rule 2. Okay, so the premises 1 of rule 2 is sun is behind the cloud. Okay, so what we have to do, the first of all start with the goal, then I have to check which rule contains this statement. So in rule number 1 it is contained that there are chances of rain. Now I have to find the premises of rule number 1. So first premises is we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Now I have to check this statement is available in rule number 2, right? We suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay, now what is the requirement of rule number 2? The sun is behind a cloud, so I have to add the sun is behind a cloud in step number 4. Okay, now I have to ask, sun is behind the cloud, but already we have two premises, that is sun is behind the cloud, right? So we have asked the question, sun is behind the cloud, so they replied yes. Okay, now we have to add this rule in our working memory. So here we added sun is behind the cloud. Till now you have clear, otherwise I repeat. Any question? Any question? So starting with our goal, there are chances of rain. So we have to check in which rule it is available. So in rule number 1, right? So we have to add this. Yes, I repeat. So first of all, start with our goal state, because our backward chaining is based on the goal driven method. So starting with goal of our problem, so there are chances of rain. So I have to check there are chances of rain in any rule. So yes, in rule number 1, there are chances of rain is available, right? Now I have to find what are the premises required for rule number 1. So if we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree and there is a humidity in air, so there are chances of rain. Okay, so I have to add in rule number 3. So we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. So now I have to check, is this rule available in the any rule? So yes. So in rule number 2, we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree is available. But what is the premises? That is sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool. Now I have to check, sun is behind the cloud is available in our inference rule? Yes, because already we have two inference rule, that is sun is behind the cloud and air is very heavy and cool. So now it is yes. So we have to add these premises in our working memory. Okay, sun is behind the cloud, so I have to add in working memory. Now we explore next. Now if see rule number 2, air is very cool. So here the second rule is air is very cool. So now I have to check, is it available? Air is very cool. So already our second premises is air is very heavy and cool. Okay. So find the rule with our goal. There are chances of rain in conclusion. So it is rule number 1. Okay. So there are chances of rain. Okay. Now see, if rule number 1, premise 1 is we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. So this is conclusion of our rule 2. So going to the rule 2, the premise 1 of rule 2 is sun is behind the cloud. So this is the primitive. So we ask from the user response, yes, sun is behind the cloud. So we can add in working memory. Okay. Now see, if rule number 2, premises is air is very cool. Now it is available in primitives, yes. So we ask it response, yes. Now we have to fire this rule in working memory. So already we have added one primitive, that is sun is behind the cloud. Now the second is added, air is very cool, because it is also available in our premises rule. Now both the condition of rule 2 is satisfied. Now we can add, we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay. So already you have given the rule number 2. If both the conditions are satisfied, then we can say that we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. We already the two premises are available, so we have fired this rule and we add this rule in our working memory. So we added, we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay. Now, so rule 1 premises in working memory. Coming to rule 1 premises 2, there is humidity in air. Okay, now we already fired the rule number 2. Now we come to the rule number 1, because already we have suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. And now we have to find the second rule of rule number 1. Means there is a humidity in air. So we have to check. Okay, so this available in rule, any rule. So yes, in rule number 3 is available, there is a humidity in air, right? So this is the conclusion of rule 3. So we, if rule 3 premise 1 is known, then air is very heavy. Okay, then we have to write air is very heavy. Okay, so sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool, and we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay, now already we have in our working directory, the three rules are there. That is, sun is behind the cloud, air is very cool, and we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Now the next step. So this is a primitive, so asking from the response yes, because in the last step the question is air is very heavy. So already we have premises, air is very heavy. So what is the answer? That is yes. Now the rule number 3 is fire. So what is our rule number 3? So then there is a humidity in the air. So we have to add this rule in our working memory. So we are adding, there are a humidity in the air. Okay. Now I have to check this statement is available in any of the rule. There is a humidity in air. So here the rule number 1 contain, there is a humidity in air. Okay, so now rule 1 premises 1 and 2 both are in working memory. So fire the rule, because already these two terms are available in working memory. So we suspect temperature less than 20 degree, and there are chances of rain, and there is a humidity in air. Now we have to add this rule in our working memory, means there are chances of rain. Okay, now we reach to our all the rules of our our system. So we prove that there are chances of rain using backward chaining. Understand? Otherwise I again repeat from starting. Okay, Joe. Starting with the first position. So here I given the rules and some inference rule of our system. So first of all, these are the rules given for our weather forecasting system, and then the rules also are, the two inference rule are also given, that is sun is behind the cloud and air is very heavy and cool. Now what is the problem? Using backward chaining, try to conclude that there are chances of rain. Okay, starting with the first, here we are using backward chaining method. In that we are starting with our goal state, because it is the goal driven method, and start with the goal, and we have to reach our all the rules of our system. Okay, so here the first step, already we have our goal, that is there are chances of rain. Okay, now we have to check in our given rule. Is this statement available in any rule of our system? There are chances of rain. So here in rule number 1, this is available, right? So find rule with our goal, there are chances of rain in conclusion. So it is our rule number 1. Now what is the requirement of this? Here the two conditions are required. we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree and there is a humidity in air, then we can say that there are chances of rain. Okay, now we have start with the first rule. So we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree, right? So because there is a requirement for there are chances of rain, two requirement is that. So start with the first requirement. Now we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Now I have to check this rule is available in any of the rule. Yes, it is available in rule number 2. Okay, so I have to check this is conclusion of rule number 2. So going to rule 2, the two premises is required. So sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool. Then we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree, right? Now we have if we have any inference rule available regarding this statement, sun is behind the cloud. So yes, this is primitive. So we ask from your response that is yes. Also we have to check our premises is sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool, right? So we have used this knowledge and we have to write these premises in working memory. Already I have given what is premises. So if you have solved any problem regarding traveling salesman, or suppose you have to give an optimization path, some expert that already solved this problem have some expertise in that domain. So what is inference rule? So inference rule is one type of expertise that is used to solve your problem. So here already one rule is there, right? But some expertise or some inference rule also be given. So sun is behind the cloud and air is very heavy and cool. So you have to check in both rule and this is your expert knowledge, because expert provide the expertise to solve your problem. So you have to also take this expert knowledge and then you have to check is it available. So this is primitive. So yes, so also we have to add sun is behind the cloud. Okay, anyone have question? One have raised their hand, so please ask your question. Okay, now we start. We reached to our step number 5, that is sun is behind the cloud, because this is our primitive. Okay, now the next step number 6, sun is behind the cloud. Now we have the second statement, that is air is very cool. Okay, so here see air is very cool. Now it is check in primitives. It is available in our primitives. Yes, air is very cool is also available. So we have add in our working memory. Now the second rule, both the conditions are satisfied, that is sun is behind the cloud and air is very cool. So now we have to add this rule in our working memory. Okay, so we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay, now we come to the point, that is rule number 1. So already first condition is satisfied. Now we come to the next property, that is there is a humidity in air. So I have to add this rule in our problem. There is a humidity in air. Now is it available in any rule of our system? Yes, rule number 3. So this is the conclusion of rule number 3. But what is the requirement of rule 3? If air is very heavy, so I have to add this rule in our system. So rule number 3 requirement is air is very heavy. Now I have to check in our premises. It is available? Yes. Our premises is air is very heavy and cool. Okay. So we have to add in our system. Air is very heavy and cool. So now our in working memory 3 rules are there. Sun is behind the cloud, air is very cool, and we suspect temperature is less than 20 degree. Okay. Now air is very cool is also added in our system in working memory. Now we come to the point, that is now it is available in our system. So yes, so we have fire. Okay. So the primitive, so asking from the user, so rule fire, so we have added in our working memory. Sun is behind the cloud, air is very cool, We suspect temperature is less than 20 degree and there is a humidity in the air. Because already we satisfied the rule number third condition, that is air is very heavy, because it is available in our primitives. Okay, now we added this rule in our working memory. Now we come to the next point, that is rule number 1. So rule 1 premises 1 and 2 both are in working memory. So we have to check. We suspect temperature is less than 20 degree and there is the humidity in air is available in working memory. Yes. So now we can easily say that there are the chances of rain. Yes. So we have reached our goal state. There are the chances of rain. Okay. Now all the rules of our system are added in working memory. So we have start with our goal state and we reach to our facts or initial condition of our system. So we have proved that there are a chances of rain. Okay. Anyone have problem? Then ask your question. Understand how we can prove using forward chaining and backward chaining? Okay, now the next topic is non-monotonic reasoning. So what is monotonic and non-monotonic? So already we have covered procedure versus declarative knowledge, forward and backward reasoning, and now non-monotonic and monotonic reasoning. Okay, so starting with what is monotonic and what is non-monotonic and logic for non-monotonic reasoning. Okay, so monotonic reasoning. So once the conclusion is taken, then it will remain same even if we add some other information to existing information in our knowledge base. So decisions are not affected by new fact unsuitable for real-time system. So what is monotonic reasoning? So if we have given some fact and we have to find the conclusion of our system, so suppose we are adding after a conclusion, so there is no changes in our conclusion. Okay, so I explain using one example. Suppose I have given one fact, that is earth revolves around the sun. Now conclusion is earth revolves around the sun, but now I added one information, earth is not round. So this is also one fact I added in our system, but our conclusion is not changed because the earth revolves around the sun. That not change sun around the earth, right? So after adding new information, our conclusion is not changed in monotonic reasoning. But some of the rules for monotonic reasoning, old proofs are valid because in our system we are given the knowledge or the data, so they take the decision, right? So all data proofs are valid and can't use for real world problem, and new knowledge from real world can't be added. So this monotonic reasoning is not popular because in real life problem nowadays, day by day, the knowledge of our problem is innovative and new. So we require real-time application. We add the new knowledge day by day, right? But in monotonic reasoning, there is no changes of any new knowledge you can add. So this is not suitable for real-time application. So only in your syllabus, so non-monotonic reasoning is there because it is used for real life problem solving. Because monotonic reasoning is used for theorem proving. There are some basic rule and some old proof that are available, and based on that we have to prove. Okay, if we are adding new information, then there is no changes in our conclusion. Okay, so this is the monotonic reasoning. Now non-monotonic reasoning. What is non-monotonic reasoning? So conclusion may be invalidated if we add some more information to our knowledge base. Suppose we are adding now new knowledge, then also our conclusion is changed. So it is helpful in real world scenario. Okay, I give one example. Suppose I have given the fact or the knowledge to our system, that is birds can fly. penguin can't fly and Alex is a bird. So what is the conclusion of our given knowledge? That is Alex can fly, right? Alex is the name of our bird. Then we can say birds can fly, penguin can't fly, and Alex is a bird. So we can say that Alex can fly. This is our conclusion of our given knowledge. Okay, this is the given fact or the truth of our system, and I conclude that Alex can fly. Now I add one new knowledge or the new fact in our system, then conclusion can change. So this is the non-monotonic reasoning. I give one example. Suppose I have added Alex is a penguin. So already I have given penguin can't fly. So now my conclusion is changed because penguin can't fly. Okay, so birds can fly, penguin can't fly, Alex is a bird, and I give Alex is a penguin. So I change my conclusion, Alex can't fly. Okay, understand? Because penguin can't fly, but it is a bird, but some of the assumption or some birds are not fly. So we can change our conclusion, that is Alex can't fly. So we adding one new knowledge and we change our conclusion. So this is the non-monotonic reasoning. Okay. This system, non-monotonic reasoning, can't use for theorem proving, and this system used for robot navigation. Why it is used for robot navigation? Because suppose the robot is going in forward direction, some of the action required instantly, right? So the real world knowledge or some background knowledge we can add in our robot program. So real program is also added and some direction also added to move the robot direction. So non-monotonic reasoning used in robot navigation and all the real life problem that solved using AI. Okay. So non-monotonic reasoning get more popularity because we can add real life data at later, and we also change the conclusion of our system. Okay, clear? Okay, so here you can see that I have one data, that is penguin cannot fly. Penguin cannot fly. Here I write horizontal line, means it not fly. Birds has a wings. So birds has a wings. Birds can fly. Birds can fly. Penguin is a bird. So penguin can fly. This is our conclusion. Okay. Because already given penguin cannot fly, birds has a wing, birds can fly, penguin is a bird, so we can say that penguin can fly. So we come to the main topic, that is default logic and all. So you have clear. Okay, this confusion statement we can't represent using predicate logic, right? So some reasoning, default reasoning and non-monotonic reasoning is there. Okay, we check. What are the non-monotonic reasoning key issues? That is, how can the knowledge base be extended to allow inference to be made on the basis of lack of knowledge as well as on the presence of it? We need to make clear distinction between it is known that not P and it is not known whether P. Okay, there is a difference between these two statements. We are writing not P and it is not known whether P, because in non-monotonic some key issues are there. How can the knowledge base be extended to allow inference to be made on the basis of lack of knowledge? Suppose we are starting with one problem, in that we have given the few knowledge. Now one by one solving our problem, there is requirement of the real other extra knowledge. So how we can add this knowledge? So this is the issues. Okay, and how we can change the conclusion. Okay, now the second issue is, how can the knowledge base be updated properly when a new fact is added to the system? since addition of a fact can cause previously discovered proof to become invalid. Because already we have starting with some knowledge and some conclusion. Now we are adding some new knowledge and also we have to change the conclusion. So how we can add this new knowledge and change the conclusion? This is the issues in non-monotonic reasoning. The third issue is how can knowledge be used to help resolve conflict when there are several inconsistent non-monotonic inference that can be drawn. Suppose here you given two fact, that is the system can confuse because you are given penguin cannot fly and penguin is a bird, but you have given bird have wings and birds can fly. Now system is confused. Bird already you can say that bird can fly and bird has a wing, and penguin is also a bird, but you can you also tell that penguin cannot fly. So this is the issues of non-monotonic reasoning. So how you can conclude or solve the conflict between these two statements? Penguin cannot fly and penguin is a bird. So penguin can fly. Already the conclusion is penguin can fly because based on these three statements. Already you have given penguin cannot fly. So non-monotonic reasoning can't solve the confusion or the conflict between statements, because suppose we are human, right? So we can take the decision penguin cannot fly because some of the bird have already wings and fly, but some exception cases are there, right? But we have knowledge and some real life knowledge, but system can take decision based on the given knowledge. Sometimes it conflict in given knowledge to solve the resolution. Okay, so non-monotonic has a three issues. How can the knowledge base be extended, and how can knowledge base be updated, and how can knowledge base be helpful for resolve conflict. Okay, these are the three issues in non-monotonic reasoning. Now we have come to the point, that is default reasoning. So what is the logic for non-monotonic reasoning? We have seen the two problems, that how we can solve the conflict in non-monotonic reasoning. So here the logic, what is the logic we can apply for non-monotonic reasoning? So there are the two methods, that is non-monotonic logic and default logic. So these two methods are used to solve the conflict between your knowledge base. Okay, non-monotonic logic and default logic. Okay, starting with the first, logic for non-monotonic reasoning. So default logic can be expressed facts like by default something is true. Some few exception cases in all the problem, right? So what is default logic? So default logic can be expressed fact like by default something is true. Okay, something, suppose here one example, birds typically fly. This rule can be expressed in Stradner logic, either all birds fly. We can write this, which is inconsistent with some fact that penguins do not fly. Because we can say that all birds are fly, but some exception cases like penguin do not fly, right? So which require all exception to the specified rule. So default logic aim at formalizing inference rule like this one without explicitly mentioning all the expression. Means how we can represent this type of problem in our system. So the default logic is used to represent our exception cases and generalized statement. So already we only know birds typically fly, but we have some exception cases where penguin can't fly. So we have to add this also knowledge in our system. So using default logic, you can write or you can mention. For example, you can see that how you can write. So here bird, so default rule, birds typically fly is formalized the following default. Already birds eggs and fly eggs, but some of the cases are exception, right? So you have to write in divided format, that is flies eggs. So these rules means that if X is a bird and it can be assumed that it flies, then we can conclude that it flies. So how you can read this statement? If X is a bird and it can be assumed that it flies, then we conclude that it flies. So you have to read in this manner, this statement. So background theory containing some fact about the bird is the following. So how you have to mention your exception cases, right? So here you are writing condor is a bird, then penguin is a bird. So you have writing penguin cannot fly and bee flies. Okay, so you have to write in this manner your exception cases. So this is your default logic, because some default problem already in all the problem to solve your problem. Okay, so how you can represent in our system? So you have to write in this manner. Okay, penguin cannot fly, and some birds that already are flight, that is the truth. So you have to add in this manner. Okay, we take one more example. Suppose, what is default reasoning? So how many wheel of the John car have? So you give answer directly 4. Now I add one more conclusion or one fact in our system. So our output or conclusion is changed. Suppose I added the one wheel of John car has just been stolen. Okay, so one wheel is stolen. Now my conclusion is changed, because already we know that the car has a 4 wheel. Okay, but one wheel is stolen, so now my conclusion is changed. Okay, so our answer is changed 4 to the 3. So this is your monotonic reasoning, and we can express some cases. That is, suppose we have stolen one car wheel, then it decrease 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. Okay, so we have to represent this type of exception cases using default reasoning. Okay, now I take the attendance. Okay, all the students have clear? Anyone have doubt?
Yes. No, ma'am.
Okay, if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay, 2, 3, 13, 20, Joy, then 6 number, 9 number, Nirav, 10 number, 11, then 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Then
Ma'am, 22.
Yes, 22, 24, 25, then 31, 34, 35, 36, 37, 39. 1 minute. Then 40, 41, 42, 43, 46, then 32. Now anyone? 32? Yes, anyone left? 32, then 41. (41), 42, 43, 46. Okay. Anyone left?
Ma'am, 24.
24. Yes, present. Again, I repeat. 2, 3, 13, 20, 1, 6, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 24, 25, 31, 34, 35, 36, 37, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 46, 32, 41. Okay?
Ma'am, 5 number.
Ma'am, 20.
Okay, 5 number and then 20. Anyone? Anyone left? Okay, now you can 1 minute. I complete your chapter. That is only one slide is there. So in default logic, you have to write in this manner: A, then B, and in some conclusion or some assumption you have to write in C. So you have to read: if A is provable and it consistent to assume B, then conclude C. C is your conclusion, A is your provable, and B is some consistent or some assume. So birds can fly, but penguin can't fly. So all the birds are fly is A. B is your penguin, and C, what is your conclusion? All birds can fly. So you can write in this manner, okay, default logic. And also non-monotonic example, X and Y. So suppose you are writing X related to Y. Here one new M is used. So what is M? So M is a modal operator. Read as a is consistent. So for all X and Y, if X and Y are related, and if the fact that X gets along with Y is consistent with everything else that is believed, then conclude that X will defend Y. So here one new operator, that is M, is used. That is read as a is consist. Okay, some default cases or some assumption you have to write, that is M. So for all X and Y, if X related to Y, if the fact X gets along with Y is consist with everything else that X is believed, then we conclude that X will defend Y. Okay, so you have to use this term, that is consist. Okay, now your unit number 4 is completed. Then you have any question, you can ask me your question. Otherwise you have next lecture, right? So you can leave the meeting. Already we have covered all the topic, that is procedure versus declarative knowledge, then difference between procedure and declarative, then forward and backward reasoning. Then also we cover one example of weather forecasting using forward reasoning as well as for backward reasoning. Okay, so in backward reasoning, starting with our goal state, right? So you also check the difference between forward and backward chaining. So start with the initial fact and start with goal. Ask many questions in forward chaining and ask a few questions in backward chaining. So you have to read this difference, because already we have studied in theory. Okay, this is the data driven method and this is your goal driven method. This is top down approach and this is your bottom up, because we are starting with goal and we reach to our rules. Okay. Okay, you can leave. You have next lecture, right? So you can leave.